Good morning. This is Pastor Jason of Kona Faith Center with a word for today. And the word for today is test. God's word version says, resist the desires of the corrupt nature that constantly attack me. I love to read different translations each year because just a turn of a phrase or a different word can bring so much meaning. New King James Version says, abstain from fleshly lusts which war against the soul. Now, it's important to know that we're in a real war with a real enemy. It's important to know that our flesh cooperates with our real enemy. Can you believe that? But to understand that we are under constant attack by the desires of our corrupt nature really helps us to see that we have to be on guard all of the time. Now, the enemy is constantly trying to stir up the desires of our corrupt nature against us. And once again, I love the God's Word translation because it says simply, pass the test. It says pass the test in several places. When I was in the fire department, the big goal of most of the guys I worked with was to get promoted. The promotions always required you to pass a test. And there were other factors considered, but how you scored on the test was the biggest factor in determining your ranking. So I bought a book that had a number of past tests from promotion from the National Fire Academy. And the way I prepared for the promotional exam was by taking the tests in this book and then just, studying the answers on the test. I did this every day. I worked at the fire station for, 4 or 5 months. I passed the promotion test with a very high ranking and qualified for an interview for promotion. The point is, taking tests regularly prepares you. I think God gives us opportunities to take the tests, to pass the tests, as a way to prepare us to live a life that accurately reflects Jesus. Taking tests regularly removes the anxiety that most tests bring. Taking tests regularly changes the way you think. Taking tests regularly keeps you on your toes and paying attention to what's going on around you. I think most people don't pass the test just because they're not paying attention. They don't realize they're in a test. Or maybe they aren't preparing themselves by taking tests regularly. One of the funny things about discipline is that developing discipline in any area of your life helps you to develop discipline in every area of your life. It impacts every area of your life. I remember the guys that I worked with complaining about taking the practice tests. They didn't like doing it. Wah. I remember enjoying taking the tests. There was no pressure. They were just practice tests. And there was just the joy of learning. Living the real Christian life, accurately reflecting Jesus, is a commitment to being a lifelong learner. Resist the desires of the corrupt nature that constantly attack you, me, us. Pass the test. The word for today is test. God bless. Pass the test.